Hi, I'm Jimmy, and yes, the review blurbs are totally true. A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood is in fact the movie we need right now. Even though the cynical part of me says, must we always use that particular blurb when we define this kind of thing? But cynical hot takes have no business in this particular neighborhood. This is Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. This is a totally heartwarming film about letting go of pain and hurt and the vicious cycle it creates if not dealt with. And it's a must-see regardless of your knowledge of Fred Rogers or the neighborhood itself. Getting the obvious out of the way, Tom Hanks is of course perfectly cast and really captures the feeling of Fred, especially in his pauses and hesitations. It's so much more than just an imitation, and that was one of the things I was most worried about. There isn't the slightest hint of parody in this, and 3 minutes in, you're totally sold that Hanks is in fact the man you know so well from childhood. Also, while heartwarming, the film is not an easily disposable schmaltz fest. It would have been really easy to Oscar bait the hell out of this, but instead the film has an unexpected bite to it, and a lot of that is because of actor Matthew Rhys is the perfect counterpoint to Tom Hanks. His cynical edge and backstory with his father is just general enough to allow the viewer to parallel their life to his, and it really packs a wallop emotionally. The film is wonderfully meta in all the right places, as it should be. Fred hosted a show where 1 minute he's pretending this is all legit, and then the next he's walking out of the set and tells you, you know this is all fake, right? And then walks right back into the set and keeps on pretending. It all worked in layers, and it's something people don't give the show enough credit for. The film changes aspect ratios, uses models for exterior shots, and sets up a very strange, almost Lynchian middle act where it's not even clear if what is happening is real or not. Again, wonderfully meta in all the right places, just like the show. Director Marielle Heller should really be commended for having such a solid grasp on what this film should be. There's a real vision at work here. For neighborhood nerds like me, there is tons of references to actual episodes, like the one where Fred puts up the tent, and a recreation of an actual visit to make-believe. Also cameos by Fred's wife Joanne, David Newell, who played Mr. McFeely, and a handful of others in that diner scene, which was show-stopping. Literally.
Would you just take, along with me, 10 seconds to think of the people who have helped you become who you are? 10 seconds of silence. I'll watch the time.
A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood doesn't exactly deep dive into who Fred was on the inside, but it does suggest how hard it must be to carry the burden of being the nicest guy in the world. As his wife says in the film and in real life, Fred wasn't a saint. If you think of him that way, it makes it something you can never attain in your own life. Fred was a human being, and he made mistakes, just like we all do. He also farted. Without a doubt, this is one of the best films of the year. And for me, one of the most personal. I also want to recommend Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood: A Visual History. Lots of wonderful info on the show over the years, including a full breakdown of the puppets, the people, and gives a full picture of everything it took to put this wonderful show together. Highly recommend it. Also, I do a side series here on YouTube about Mr. Rogers called Neighborhood Watch. Give it a look. I'll post some links down below. Maybe I'll do a new one here pretty soon. Because ho ho ho?
Boy, this is so big on me. Makes me feel little.
Whomever you've been thinking about, how pleased they must be to know the difference you feel they've made.